Hello everyone, Kristen Disney here, and I'm going to quickly go through some test strategies that will help you become a rock star tester. Strategies of the test take you must use, young one. Get a good night's rest. The night before your test is not a good time to have a sleepover or watch a late night movie. Eat a healthy breakfast and lunch the day of your test. Here are some test taking tips that we're going to go over today. Take a deep breath and relax. Don't stress. Read all of the directions. Read the questions carefully. Make sure you understand what is being asked. Look at all the choices before you answer and paraphrase the question in your head so that you understand what's being asked. Eliminate answers you know are wrong. Stop and think carefully. Check your work for accuracy. Always do your best. We're going to go over several of these in depth, but this is a good time to hit pause on the video and take some notes. As soon as you're ready, hit play again so that you can continue learning test strategies to help you be a rock star tester. Take a deep breath and relax. Well, maybe not to this extent, but definitely don't stress about this. You're prepared. You're going to do great. Read all the directions carefully. If you don't follow the instructions, you're not going to have a successful test time, are you? Can you imagine going skiing and not listening to the instructions of the ski instructor? Yeah, pay attention and listen to the instructions and read all the directions carefully. Read the questions carefully. Try to answer the questions before looking at the given answers. Be sure to read all the choices, even if you're sure of your answer. Go with your first instinct. It's usually the correct one. And before reading a long passage, read the question and choices before you read the long passage so that you can be on the lookout for that information. If the question's asking you about the setting in the passage, you could be looking for time of day, weather conditions, time of month, seasons, location as you're reading to make sure that you understand what the location is and what the setting is. This is a good time to pause. Click play when you're ready to continue on. Make sure you understand what's being asked. Underline or circle keywords for difficult questions. This will help you focus on the main idea or point of the question. Some words you might underline or circle would be compare contrast, infer, theme, main idea, more than, less than, sum, product, quotient. In this question, how many more students are in the classroom L than are in classroom N? This tells me I'm going to need to subtract. Eliminate the answers you know are wrong. Jessie measured her goldfish as shown. What is the length of Jessie's goldfish? Well, I can eliminate 1 inch immediately. And I can eliminate 6 inches immediately because the fish is nowhere near 6 inches long or 1 inch long. 3 and 4 is the choice that I need to choose from. Looking at this, some might think that this is a 4-inch fish, but we all know better. This fish should be measured starting at 0. So if this fish was measured at 0, its tail would be right here at 3 inches, or we could add the inches going from left to right. 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. To select your answer, completely fill in the circle next to the one that you want. When you cross out items that you know are wrong, cross them out lightly so that you can erase them. This is mostly for third graders because third graders will take their test on paper and pencil. So a third grader might want to lightly cross out 1 inch, lightly cross out 6 inches, and then circle in dark and deep the B, section B, for 3 inches. Make sure that you don't get outside of the bubble and don't come anywhere near all the other bubbles because the computer might think that you were selecting more than one answer. And then I would recommend that you erase these little cross-outs if you need to. Stop and think carefully. What is the value of the fraction 5/8? Is it 1/5, 8/5, 1/8, 5/8? Choice A and choice C both have 1 in the answer. and our fraction does not have a 1. So we can eliminate those two. Quickly and carefully think about each of these questions before you answer them. Check your work for accuracy. This problem tells us what plus 14 equals 50. We're trying to determine how many states Seth has left to visit. When we use our paper and pencil, we'll take 50 and subtract 14 from it. When we do that, we're going to come up with the answer 36. So you would circle in A, fill in A for 36. But before you do that, it might be a good idea to check. 36 plus 14 would have to equal 50. And we might need to verify that before we move on. To do that, you're going to just create another problem right next to your subtraction problem, 36 plus 14, and just add those numbers together to see, in fact, that you do get 50. Use your scratch paper and graph paper. If the teacher forgets to give you graph paper, raise your hand and let them know that you need it to take your test, and ask for them to find me if there are any issues. Become familiar with the testing program. This link here will open up the testing program, and here are the username and passwords for the different tests that are offered. I've already launched the test right here, and I just want to show you quickly that once you log in, you'll see 2 tests for 4th grade, 4 tests for 5th grade, because 5th grade take a science test and a writing test. So the ELA section 1 is a writing test, and then 6th grade has 2 tests, 7th grade has 2 tests, and then 8th grade also has 4 tests again. The ELA section 1 is the writing test. ELA section 2 of 8th grade and 5th grade would be the multiple choice questions. And then they also have a math and a science test for 8th graders. Most of you have already taken this test. If for some reason you haven't, please click this link right here in this presentation and then go familiarize yourself with the testing program. This is what a 4th grade test looks like. 4th graders and up will take their test on the computer. 3rd graders will have a paper and pencil test. So this is what it will look like. The eyeballs down here next to each of these selections will hide this multiple choice selection here from your view so that you won't be confused by it if you'd like to hide. This is the way that a computer tester would eliminate answers that they know are not correct. You can star a problem to come back to it later. You can click this down arrow to see all the question numbers and which ones you've answered and which ones you still have yet to look at. Click the next button to continue to the next question. Before finishing your test, it'll ask you to verify that you've answered all your questions. So make sure that you've done that. Don't leave any questions blank. 3rd graders and any of the other graders taking tests on the computer, don't ever leave a question blank, because if you leave it blank, it's automatically counted wrong. All right, this is what an 8th grade test looks like. Down at the bottom, you'll see a red circle over the calculator. There is an in-house computerized calculator. You're welcome to bring your calculators. 6th graders, 7th graders, and 8th graders can use a calculator that's been approved. You should already know if your calculator is approved or not. So bring your calculator, but if worst case scenario, you forgot your calculator or some reason it's not working, there will be a computer calculator you can use. And then also too, that formula sheet will be in that little box down there on the far right, down at the bottom. This formula sheet will pull up, and then to extend it out to where you can read it, just click this here on the corner and drag, and it will open it up. All right, so written response questions. Here's what's going to happen. 5th graders, 8th graders, and 11th graders are going to write an essay. They're going to have a long written essay problem. So therefore, they will not have any short written response questions on their tests. 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th graders will have a handful of short answer questions. Let's look at one now. Before we look at a sample written response question for 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th graders, keep the following information in mind. Read and understand the question. Make sure that you refer back to the passage to support your answer. You always want to refer back to what the article says or the passage says. Answer all parts of the questions. Every sample question I have seen has at least 2 parts. Make sure that you answer both parts. And only 2 well-written, complete sentences is enough to answer these questions. You do not have to write a paragraph. The only students that are writing paragraphs are 5th graders, 8th graders, and 11th graders. Make sure that you use proper punctuation and capitalization. This would be a good time to pause the video and take some notes. Press play when you're ready to resume. Here is a sample question. It says, describe how the author structures paragraphs 3 through 5 of the American Buffalo. Provide details from the passage to support your answer. Pause the video here to read the passage to yourself. Then press play when you're ready to continue. In this passage, I can see that the author uses problem and solution to structure these paragraphs. To answer this problem, I would type something like this. In this passage, the author structures paragraph 3 through 5 using problem and solution. In paragraph 5, the author explains ways that people are working to protect the declining population of the American buffalo. You can see that I kind of restate the question by putting the words structures paragraph 3 through 5 by using problem and solution. Right there, I answered the question. And the second part of the question tells us to provide details from the passage to support my answer. Well, I did that right here by saying in paragraph 5, the author explains ways that people are working to protect the declining population of the American buffalo. Don't overthink these problems. Just answer the question in a couple of short sentences. Constructed response practice problems. If you need some more practice, you can click on these links, and I have practices for 3rd grade, 4th grade, 6th and 7th grade. And then if you need help on some evidence-based terms or words you can use to prove evidence from your passage, here's a great graphic that will help you with that. Information about 5th and 8th grade writing tests will be presented in a separate video. You'll click the links below here to watch about the writing test and to watch the slideshow about that. What should you bring to the test? 11th graders need to bring a picture ID. 11th graders can bring a light snack since their test is at least 4 hours long. It's a long test. Everyone can bring bottled water, which should be safely stored under the table. Snacks are going to be provided for 3rd and 4th graders because they're going to get a little mini break in between the 2 sections of their tests. Don't bring any technology, cell phones, paper, pencil, or formula sheets. Everything you'll need to take the test will be provided for you. If you bring any technology, such as your computer, a cell phone, or smartwatch, then just check it in at the registration table and they'll give it back to you after you're done with your test. Success, because you too can own this face of pure accomplishment. Stay strong. The school year is almost over. Guys, you can do this. I know you can. Here's a quick test over test strategies. So click this and it will take you to a quick test that looks similar to this for you to fill out for me. Right. If you have any questions, let me know. You guys are going to do amazing.